Thank you for this intro, Ilya, and this is Dmitry. So we're going to talk about cybersecurity, Russian vehicle, how to build it. So it's called Atom. So this is fully 100% Russian vehicle, not something that we brought from China, not badge making. So all the chassis, so everything inside is the Russian manufactured machinery, and so we're quite careful about the information security because the technical risk, it charges fast, it travels fast, and so because we were putting it together, we were thinking about security, of course, and so those challenges that we faced, and Dmitry is going to talk a little bit more because we've been working with Kaspersky, so hand in hand, they're good professionals, we learn a lot from them, and three challenges. Unique threats, because the vehicle is not just a dishwasher or just a regular computer. They have their own technology, and they have their own bus and gateways, and they have a lot of things. And we have a smart vehicle, and it's not just a vehicle, it's just more of a gadget, a lot of things. You can use your mobile device to do it, and therefore there's a lot of threats, and the amount of threats is kind of growing, and therefore now the architecture is quite challenging and difficult because a lot of moving parts, and a lot of suppliers were used to provide all those different parts, and in the auto industry a lot of assembly parts coming from different things because you have all those, let's say, window rollers and so tires coming from different ways. So therefore, you need to be insured and assured that you're not going to be hit from the side. And of course, we need to monitor both the infrastructure itself and the infrastructure that is being used to make it. In terms of threats, AVI, so what is it? So this is the thing that you play the radio on the right-hand side, depending on the car, where it can be different ways, the radio, multimedia, and maybe you get the calls coming through this, let's say, this entertainment segment, so it has to be isolated from the car because you have the radio or the video player there, it's connected to the car, and potentially in many ways it was proved that you can use the brakes through that block of the vehicle, so therefore it has to be protected. And it has to be isolated, and on top of that, in our vehicle, we can download and install different apps. So this means that external apps should not have access to the vehicle, to the whole vehicle itself. And also the security gateway. So architectural, all your components, so they have a particular bus cooperating, so it's linked to a kind of box, whether to put the signal through or not through, so because you press the button and this block checks valid or not invalid. So because of the previous presentation, so it's not in all cases you have this kind of validation, and you need to, of course, be sure, and it's well thought through and protected. And mobile apps, so you cannot just lock the car and lock and roll up the window, roll it down, so you can share the access to the car to your friend, relatives, so that they use the vehicle, opening up and looking through the status. If you are a fleet operator, so you can see what parts were changed when they need the maintenance, then how many miles they have on them. So a lot of threats, and we're tracking them, and so back-end servers, so that API was protected. And fourth is the fine-tuning, because you have this, for example, when you use the maintenance and they get connected to the cable, and sometimes they can hook it up from a distance and they check certain characteristics, very sensitive access, and it should also be protected. Simply because we don't want to, let's say, some guy, even locally in the street or using the internet, kind of break into a car. So we don't want that. And so this access has to be protected as well. In terms of architecture, you have so many parts and mega controllers, and some of those controllers were using different architectures. So you have a lot of stack of C++, Java, a lot of languages, and anything. So all these things have to be protected, and therefore we're using the best LC practices. So we run all this code through the analyzers. We're looking for those inserts, and open source, of course, has a lot of problems. And dynamic scanning, and in this using the dynamic, and we're kind of testing the software for controllers, and therefore much time is being spent for the architectural review. So as the previous speaker said, that you need to think ahead and protect it from early on, and not to suffer through kind of the rest of the usage. So therefore we try to forecast and protect against these problems. And in terms of the Security Operations Center, so in the Security Operations Center is a classic mode. You protect your office, your company, 2, 3 offices, maybe some of the warehouses, something like that. So besides or on top of that, yes, we do that as well, but we have the information and collect this information and protect all our users. And on top of that, we have production lines, assembly lines that are being used, and they have their own software and hardware. So therefore, I'm sure that you're using not just regular computers, and we also collect data from there, so that during the assembly nothing is going to get inside. So also some quite interesting features there as well. And thirdly, that I would like to touch upon is that for the vehicle, so SOC for the vehicle, so this is just very few companies issue that decision, simply because it's a smart car. A lot of telematics, we want to protect it, and you can upload this telematics onto the cloud and check if something wrong happens to that, and Dmitry is going to talk about that information. So basically in real time he can track all those problems, and Kaspersky lab, they have these examples of attacks, and therefore, you as the owner of the vehicle or the owner of the fleet, you have this light bulb going on, that something is wrong taking place, and this brings together all these three areas. So before giving the floor to Dmitry, I would like to say that what our marketing director wanted me to say. So if the company is interested in, of course, or might be interested in the vehicle, so Atom, corporate fleet, so it's parked outside of the hotel, so you can talk to the guys, and we'll be more than happy to assist you. Dmitry is going to talk about Kaspersky approach. Ilya, thank you very much. So dear colleagues, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And so Ilya, on his part, was talking about the challenges the cybersecurity, cyber kind of manufacturers need to focus on. And so I would like to share with you the challenges as the technology manufacturer to protect the modern vehicle. And let's start with the landscape of threats. So 2024 data says that malware users prefer distant attacks. They're using telematics servers and apps, and how it's done So I think that Artyom delivered the best possible presentation on that topic, and thanks to him, I think that every year the number of attacks has to at least stay at the same level. However, we register some of the, let's say, growth, because not all auto manufacturers see that or pay enough attention to cybersecurity. So why so many attacks and the number is growing? So simply because that we see more and more of the vehicles on the roads and electric vehicles, and the number of telecommunicational segments is much higher on average than in the conventional vehicles with the combustion engine. So it's true that if we look specifically, so modern EV, e-car, so this is just computer on wheels, what can update its information so it can connect to clouds, and they have the battery that you need to regularly kind of charge, and therefore you connect to infrastructure of the charging stations, and on top of it, as stated by Ilya, the car is a gadget.
The gadget that you must manage, and you can do it remotely via your mobile phone, and you can come up with this wide range of services on customization. So I really recommend everyone having this opportunity to check the automobile. It is parked right next to the entrance, to talk to the colleagues and ask them how important it is for them to have the access to even to different services. And this is the landscape of threats, and this is the approach to the problematics several years ago. And we have 4 focuses and 4 challenges for us as the designers. So automobile is a gadget, but it is a wheeled one, and it follows the roads, public roads, and transport people. So the first challenge that we faced is the thing to bind and balance information security and physical security. And we were to design to come up with such a technology and information technologies that will work and operate for the decades ahead, and solving not only the safety for atom, but new generations of atom and other transport means. Then automobile production is a conveyor production, and therefore our solutions on information security, cybersecurity must be applicable in this conveyor production. And we are to make sure that it is also part of this chain of supply chain, and we must come up with this comprehensive information security solution. So let us see how we overcame the challenges, the difficulties, and how we bonded together with information security. 3 years ago, when we started, there was no any regulations on information security for the automobile. That was the UN group, and they had something about that. In Russia, it was not in place. It is not in place still, but we are on the way. So that was the environment for us, together with Kama guys, and we were to design from the scratch this cyber-protected vehicle. And today, within these 3 years, and now we know how to build this cyber-protected vehicles. And for the Kaspersky lab, the team in charge of safety and security design, to define this dedicated group trained in physical safety and security, and therefore functional security, and therefore we now have this ability to bind. As the result, September of this year, the process of production of our gate in Kaspersky lab for vehicles, it has gone through this safety standard and got the meet the license, this 626262, and we expect certification based on this standard that we
является
met.
создание подхода
Another approach
по
is to
обеспечению
come up with
информационной
this
безопасности автомобилей, который будет работать на перспективу более 10
understanding
лет.
of this
Для
10
этого
years
мы
perspective to make sure it will
проанализировали и создали
operate and
модель
it will
угроз автомобиля
meet the
очень
needs for
подробно,
the
в том
next
числе и с
coming
ребятами
10
из
years.
СРТ. Много там
And
участвовало специалистов, за что им
we
большое спасибо.
had
Но самое
our
главное, что
partners
в результате
from
анализ показал, что для того, чтобы эффективно
group,
пресекать
and
атаки
we were
внутри
to make
автомобиля, нам
sure how
необходимо
to
всю
effectively
информационную
prevent
систему
attacks
машины разделить
and
на отдельные
how
домены
to
безопасности.
break
Отдельно
the
выделить
attacks. And
домен
we were to
мультимедийный,
split
отдельно
domains
домен,
in
связанный с внешними
different
коммуникациями, куда
tracks,
уходит
like
работа
multimedia
с
domain,
обновлением,
so to
работа с
target the
телеметрией.
domains.
Отдельно
There's
выделить
still a
домен, связанный
matrix
с удаленной
domain.
диагностикой,
We define
и в
this
отдельный домен
domain
спрятать
with
все, что
this remote
касается
diagnostics, and
управлением
then
электронными
the
блоками автомобиля.
dedicated
Взаимодействие между этими доменами должно проходить
domain
шлюзом безопасности,
on
который должен контролировать
managing
коммуникации
the system. And
между
we
этими
were to provide
доменами
this
через определенные
secure
политики.
gates
Вот с точки зрения
and
технологически
to
реализовать
offer the
эту
best
идею нам помогла
operations.
наша
And
операционная система
technically, we were
Kaspersky
able to
которая
implement it
взяла
through
на
our
себя задачу
Kaspersky
эффективного
OS
разделения
operational
коммуникаций.
system. And
И второе
it
это реализацию политики
started playing the
безопасности,
role
которая прямо на уровне операционной системы
of
реализуется. Более того,
distributing the
вот этот подход
functions.
оказался очень
And
крайне
such an approach
правильным. Это
happened to
подтверждает
be
и
the right
то,
thing,
что
the
сейчас
most right
используется
thing,
такой подход и в
and
других
it is proved
транспортных
now,
средствах.
and it is now
Но
used
самое
through
интересное,
the industry, in
что
other
он подвел к очень
automobiles,
интересным
vehicles,
технологиям.
and then
Как я уже
it brought
сказал, у
us to
коллег
this
есть
very
задача,
interesting
связанная с тем,
technology.
что
Our
они хотят
colleagues
предоставить
have the
возможность
task
сторонним компаниям
on how
разрабатывать
they offer
приложения
the
для
side
своего
companies and how
автомобиля
they can
и давать
design
этим
the
приложениям
applications for
доступ
their vehicles and to give the
блокам
access
управления
to
автомобилем.
the
Давайте приведу
management
пример.
board of the vehicles. I want to bring the
У
cases, the
конкретно
examples.
автомобиля
So,
Atom
Atom
фары, они
car,
многоцветные.
they have these
И,
lights
например, это
that
можно
come in
использовать как? Когда вы
multicolor.
приходите к автомобилю,
And
он
then
может
you
вам
can
подморгнуть
come to this
любимым цветом
vehicle
фар.
and it can
Если мы
blink
чуть дальше
at
пойдем, и
you
фары,
with
например, были
this
бы
your
матричные, то тогда, например,
favorite
можно было
color.
бы
If
написать
it
слово
was
«привет» прямо на фарах,
matrix
парням
lights,
поставить
then
лайк, там, девочкам
it could be
нарисовать
possible to
сердечко.
to
Но
write something
когда
like
автомобиль
hi,
начинает
or
движение,
for guys
это
approaching the
недопустимо.
car having this
Честно говоря, я
thumbs
даже не
up,
представляю,
or
что подумает
for the
водитель,
girls with some
двигающего
hearts
напротив транспортного средства,
sending
когда ему моргнут розовым
message.
цветом,
But
поставят лайк и еще
we are
нарисуют
not sure
нарисуют
how it
сердечко.
will come up in
Ситуация может,
real
конечно,
life.
по-разному
Like there is
развернуться,
someone
но уж
coming to
точно
the car, and the car
не
will be
увеличит
blinking
безопасность движения
in
на
pink,
дорогах. Так
sending
вот, для
hearts,
решения
but
этой задачи
probably it will not
мы
result
разработали
in better
уникальную
safety
технологию,
on the
которая
roads.
запатентована,
So we
которая
designed a unique
позволяет,
technology
с
that we
одной стороны,
patented, and from one
проверить
side
легитимность запускаемого
it
приложения и
allows to
легитимность
check the
команды, которая это
legitimacy
приложение
of
управляет
the
блок управления. Если вернуться к
application
нашему примеру
uploaded, and
с
then how
фарами, то
it
при
is
достижении автомобилем определенной
transferred in terms
скорости
of the comments.
статус
So
фар
the
сбрасывается, а команда
status
на
of
корректировку
lights
цвета перестает просто восприниматься и просто
and
блокируется.
this
Следующие два
comment
вызова,
to change the
которые,
color is blocked in some situations when the car is on the road. So we don't play these games while we drive. And we now have this patented unique
Система безопасности должна уметь
system to control
встраиваться в
it.
конвейерное
So
производство
this
автомобиля.
ability to
Здесь
embed
нельзя обойтись без партнерства.
the
В
operations
данном
in
случае
this
в
supply
проекте
chain.
Atom
We
мы
cannot play this role
партнером таким стала
without
компания
our
Craftway,
partners. And
которая
Craftway
разработала
is our
аппаратную
partner
платформу
to
для
design this
шлюза безопасности
software
автомобиля.
platform for the
На
gate,
текущий момент
security
есть
gate
пересиленные
for
образцы,
the
ребята совместно
GIS
работают над тем,
system of
чтобы в
the
дальнейшем
vehicle. We also
встраивать
work
эту
on
платформу
the
уже
other
на
task
конвейер,
on
будущий
how
конвейер.
to bring
Платформа
it to a
оказалась
conveyor
довольно
production, and the
производительной,
platform
мощной,
happened to be
получился
quite
мощный контроллер, который, с одной
efficient,
стороны,
quite powerful. We
реализует
started having this
функции
powerful
шлюза
controller
безопасности, управляется нашей
playing the
операционной
role
системой,
of the
но также
gate to
позволяет
control our
реализовать и функции
operational
телеметрии,
system and to
телематики, то
also
есть управлять безопасно автомобилем,
implement the functions of
проводить удаленную диагностику
telematics
автомобиля.
to offer this remote
Более того,
diagnostics.
этот конкретный
Moreover,
шлюз работает на
this gate
перспективу
is
и позволяет,
working
помогает
for the
в дальнейшем,
perspective,
поможет
and in the future
соответствовать
times
регуляторке, которая
it
сейчас
will
есть в
allow
ООН,
us to
ну и,
meet the
естественно, конечно, с
regulations
российской регуляторкой
of
тоже,
the
когда она
UN
выходит
and
в
the
открытую.
Russian regulations right
Более того,
when it
этот
comes up.
шлюз делает
Moreover, this
следующий шаг
gate
в
offers the next step
обеспечении
in
комплексного подхода
providing for this
к
complex
обеспечению
approach
безопасности на транспорте.
to safety
Как
and
я уже
security
сказал,
on transport. As I
современный
mentioned,
электромобиль, он
this
должен быть связан
modern
с большим количеством
e-mobile,
сервисов. Сервисы — неотъемлемая часть этой
e-vehicle
системы,
must be
потому что
connected
они
to
позволяют
different
предоставить вот те самые
services,
свойства
and safety
автомобиля
and
уникальные,
security is
которыми
definitely
мы обладаем.
part of this
И поэтому
services.
с
So
нашей точки
we bring
зрения
this uniqueness
здесь очень важно,
in terms
чтобы
of safety
на
and
стороне
security, and we add to the
автопроизводителя
uniqueness of the
был
vehicle.
построен
So
центр мониторинга
we therefore
безопасности,
come up to the
который позволит, с
situation
одной
when
стороны,
we are to
мониторя
construct the
информацию
monitoring
с
of safety
автомобиля
and
через наш
security.
шлюз,
So
получая
through our
другие
gate,
из других
the
источников данные,
producers, they can monitor the
обнаруживать
situation
на
from
ранних
our
стадиях атаки на комплексную систему транспорта.
sensors and
На
other
текущий момент
sensors, and then
наш шлюз безопасности
access
интегрирован
and
с
assess
нашей
the system of
CRM-системой
safety and
Kuma.
security, and it is
Есть
now
уже
integrated with our
демонстрационный
Kuma
стенд,
system.
который
We
позволяет
also have a
показать
demonstration
эффективность
stand
данной
that
технологии.
allows to
Мы верим, что Kama
showcase the
станет первым
efficiency of this
производителем в
technology, and we
России,
believe that
которая
Kama will be the
реализует
first
данный
producer
комплексный
in
подход.
Russia to implement such complex
Вот так
approach. So
выглядит проект
this is
«Атом» с
how
точки зрения
Atom
лаборатории
looks in terms
Kaspersky.
of the
Коллеги, я
Kaspersky
еще
lab.
раз всех
I
призываю
also would like to
пойти
encourage
и
everyone
посмотреть на автомобиль. И самое
to
главное, поговорить с
take a
ребятами,
look at
которые в
this car
России
and to talk to the
действительно
guys who are
создают
in Russia
современный электромобиль с
creating
чистого
this
листа.
modern vehicle from
Спасибо
the
большое за
scratch.
внимание.
Thank you very much.